So what we need to do, Mr. President, is be bipartisan, and it can be done. And we have to bring the business community. We have to. I think Ms. Fiorina is right. We need to have job creation, have the private sector draft a jobs program.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm gonna. Because I think, I know for certain that I have Republican colleagues who don't believe the sequester is a good idea. And they think it's irresponsible. And we agree with them. And so then the question is, what is it that we can put on the table? Because it's all about a deal. And you know, I'm about as left of center as they get, but I understand that this is about making a deal. And so I think, for example, we have some who say, well, the major drivers are things like Medicare. But, and Frank, I want to put a fact on the table. The fact is that Medicare costs have risen just this last 3 years, 3.2%. Other healthcare costs, 4%. And so actually, we've done a lot over the last 3 years to begin to send those drivers down. What's doing that? It's focusing on things like quality and not quantity, and we need to do more of that to bring those costs down. But we also have to balance it with spending. We know that some of our colleagues, because they got roads and bridges in their district, want to spend on roads and bridges.
I got to tell you, this is a great meeting, but you're all giving speeches.
Yeah, I got to say.
I mean,
so
you've got a decision to make. The president has to do something.
Let me say, this is, I'll act like it's an actual White House staff meeting and say, I love the talk of the 90s, and I was in the Clinton White House too, but these are not the 90s. These are different times. The Congress is much more polarized, Bill. You know that as well as I do. The fact is that, we can have long discussions. We actually have to negotiate. We have to get a meeting together and negotiate about the sequester. Now, we have a position on these issues, which is that we need a balanced approach. They have a position which is we should only have spending cuts going forward. We've said we need revenue. So the question is, are we willing to go into a meeting and say, we're willing to put some savings on the table. We could have some reductions in Medicare that doesn't affect beneficiaries, et cetera, and actually get revenue on the table. And do you think they'll negotiate on something like that? Because the issue is we can have, we've been trying on bipartisanship. We all think we should be bipartisan. It would be great if they were, but there are forces at work that are pulling people pulling apart, and we need to actually address issues.
Since I'm being attacked, can I respond?
Well, it's your job, man.
Look, I'm from the state. I'm a governor, all right? And I see all this Washington stuff. They can't get along. There's no bipartisanship. We can't make deals. I have to, as a governor, work with my legislature to balance a budget. It is constitutional. Why can't the federal government do the same? And I'm not giving a speech. What I'm saying is I have seen bipartisan agreements. I don't know if these senators were part of that under first President George Bush. There's a bipartisan budget agreement. It involved more revenues. It probably cost President Bush the election. But I believe that rather than have sequestering fiscal cliff, that men and women can sit around a room and negotiate and get things done, and that's what's not happening here.